The end of another decade has rolled around. For some of you, maybe it's the end of your first decade. And we're moving into exciting times for Rocket League. Seems like Rocket League is slowly growing in popularity. At least, when I get on now, it seems like there's well over 200,000 people playing, which is very rare. We haven't seen numbers like that since like the beginning of Rocket League. And my hope is that there's going to be some really big things on the horizon as we look at 2020 and what could possibly happen in Rocket League this year. Now, some of these things come directly from the community, that being either Reddit or Twitter. And some of these are just things that I'm speculating about or that I've had conversations about. And they range from, potential new items to things like the future of competitive Rocket League. I've tried to pick some really good ones for you guys. And as we know, there's always terrible ideas out there, like these wheels that were going around Twitter. Some of you guys are looking at these and are like, man, those wheels are cracked, bro. I don't know if I use that term properly. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Make sure to subscribe if you guys like videos like this one. I haven't said that in a while. And if you do subscribe, or maybe you're already subscribed, go ahead and turn on this little bell so that you'll get notified right away when I upload next time. And you can then be one of those kids that rushes to the comments to say first, because who doesn't want to do that? Also, you should probably remember that I'm trying to avoid using ideas from some of my older videos on this topic. So these are pretty much all brand new ideas, at least to some extent. There's a few repeats, but I have good reasons for that. All right, let's jump right in. All right, let's kick this one off with some possible new RLCS items that should be coming to the eSports shop soon. And this all comes directly from Jalen's Twitter. I'll put his Twitter in the description below. He's created renders of everything from RLCS decals on new cars like the Fennec to like new team renders that will match up with branding better. I really do think that in this area, there's some essential updates that need to happen in regards to the eSports shop, and I'm expecting they will as new teams will be added to the next season of RLCS. I do think one of the biggest updates that needs to happen is that these decals need to become available at least on more cars, if not on every possible car. Obviously, cars like the Batmobile are never going to have this stuff, but you guys know what I'm saying. I know that's probably a ton of extra work for whoever designs and implements this stuff, but the meta is slowly changing. It's moving beyond just octanes and domini. I think that's how you pluralize Dominus, right? So we should have cars like the Fennec with these options and, apparently the Merc. And because so many players already purchased these, like they're super popular and people love them. And I think they'd sell even more. I really do think that this would be worth it. All right, number 9, maybe a bit of a stretch, but a few months back, we got our first taste of what it would look like if we had boost overlays in Rocket League. Now, this little plugin was actually made by a modder named Dan Bergholt, could be saying that wrong, and it's pretty fantastic. He also added a mini map, which is pretty amazing as well. I'll be honest, I highly doubt Psyonix will actually make a huge change like this to the actual gameplay, but I don't think it would be a bad idea if it were done well. It would be really cool to be able to see your team's boost amount, but who knows? There's, some other potential gameplay changes that could happen in 2020 that we'll talk about in a bit that are probably more likely than this one, but we can always speculate. Number 8 is an idea I saw on Verge's Twitter a few months back, and it's actually a new cosmetic or like a potential cosmetic that could either come from rewards or actually be a part of the items, and it's Tinted Windows. Now, I personally love this idea. I'd honestly be shocked if Psyonix hadn't considered this at some point. Knowing them, they've probably talked about it before and talked about everything that would go into it, but I really think 2020 is the year for Psyonix to add some brand new cosmetic items, whether it be Tinted Windows, or some of the other things that we'll talk about later. Tinted Windows would just be so clean. Like, they could even have animated windows and things like that, as long as it's really clean and subtle. Maybe it would mess up the entire design of other car designs. I don't know. I think there's definitely a way that it could be done. Number 7 goes to the potential new training stuff that, in my opinion, absolutely needs to be added in Rocket League in 2020. Now, this is something I've talked about before, but we actually have some new examples through modding of what this could look like in Rocket League. Now, before, when I've talked about this, we really hadn't seen what it would look like in game, in training, but thanks to GLHGLH, he's actually working on a mod for this, and it really looks amazing. And honestly, it just looks super fun and refreshing, like just something different to practice. I'm not sure this would be a massive help to players, but it would be the start of something. Like, imagine if we could place bots in training and we could practice dribbling around them and they would just like go in a certain direction and just do that over and over again. And obviously bots that don't completely suck. I just personally feel like there's so much more potential for training and custom training, and people could really get creative with this stuff if they could create more than just different shots. So come on, Epic, Just give Psyonix a bunch of money and make it happen. Okay, number 6 goes to something a little bit off topic, and this is an idea that I've had for a while. Basically, I think that RLCS should have its own dedicated 1v1 league that maybe goes on during RLCS. I don't know, probably better not to do that. Maybe it would just be like in the off season, and it could even be just like a short season or like a league or a tournament. I feel like we've seen from Johnny Boy's show match series and the tournaments that he's held that 1v1s are incredibly competitive, and it's really entertaining in a different way than 3v3 is. I feel like it appeals to a lot of different audiences than maybe standard does. I don't know, maybe they're looking at the numbers and probably just thinking it's better to invest in the standard competitive scene, and I totally get that. I'm sure 1v1 wouldn't be as big of numbers, but who knows? Maybe it could be bigger someday. We really don't know. There's just so many talented, insane 1v1 players who really don't get to compete in threes, and even though they're the best, like some of the best players in the world mechanically and in terms of like shooting and stuff, there's just, you know, so much political crap that goes into playing on a team with an org. It's easier for those kids who just want to grind alone and can beat the best players in the world, and that's why solos is so cool for things like Fortnite. So, you know, some kids sitting at home could grind their way to the top and, you know, maybe win money without needing all of the other stuff that goes with it, you know, that goes with finding a team. I don't know, that's just an idea. Let me know what you guys think about this. Is this a good idea? I could be way off. Number 5 goes to another cosmetic change that I think would be brilliant, and that's the idea of having LED light options for like underneath your car. So similar to Tinted Windows, this would just be a really cool, maybe even more fun cosmetic addition. Now, I'm not totally sure how this would work in terms of developing it. You know, a developer from Psyonix could probably make more sense of these things, and honestly, I would love to have a developer on my channel and ask them these questions. I know they like to keep stuff pretty secret at Psyonix, which I totally understand. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this idea. Do you think that having lights under the cars would be a cool idea? I feel like it could be. All right, number 4 is an idea that I've thought about a fair amount, and it's arguably the worst idea I've ever had, but it just won't go away for some reason, so I have to share it. I think it would be really awesome, potentially, if there was a way to put emojis in the chat beyond just like text chat. So I'm just gonna throw that out there, and you guys let me know what you think of that. There's just so many times, like for example, when a teammate own goals, that it would just be so perfect to throw like a confused face up in the chat. Now maybe that's not possible with the way the game's set up, I'm not sure. But you know, you can't tell me that you guys wouldn't use this. Even if you hate the idea, you would definitely use it. All right guys, number 3 is something that I could definitely see happening in the next year or two, and that's the idea of having an official Rocket League World Cup. Now, we've seen something similar to this back in 2017 when the League of Rockets put on a World Cup tournament, and you know, obviously the 2020 Tokyo Olympics will have Rocket League as well, but a World Cup is just a great way to do esports in my opinion. It gives different players who wouldn't be able to compete against the best teams in the world because of their location, it gives them a chance to compete and potentially win big. Now, maybe this won't be happening in 2020, and you know, I doubt they're just gonna like scrap RLCS for something like this, but could be happening in the near future at some point. All right guys, number 2 on the list goes to one of the most desired items in Rocket League, the potential white Dominus. Now, I'm not sure all the ins and outs of this and why they haven't like created the white Dominus yet. I personally think that when Rocket League opened up the item shop just recently, there should have been just like a white Dominus sitting there for like $150 or something stupid like that, because people would have bought it. Like, I'm serious, people would have bought it. Now, you can kind of get a look at what a white Dominus would look like using Bacchus mod and I believe Alpha Console, but players still want the real deal, and I think that 2020 is the year that they should add it to the game, along with white versions of some of the other cars. Imagine a white Batmobile. How cool would a white Batmobile be? I think they're sort of trending in this direction, especially when I saw the different colored Cristianos that have been added. Who knows though? Maybe there's a reason it hasn't happened that I'm not aware of. All right guys, I've saved the big change for last, and that is the potential removal of all RNG elements that are still in standard Rocket League, and it basically has everything to do with demos. So the 2 main things that the community seems to want changed is the lack of transparency for demo smoke and the fact that respawning is still random and can completely change the course of a game. CJCJ's tweet kind of sums it up perfectly. He says, for Christmas, Psyonix, let's remove demo smoke and pick which corner you spawn in, and boom, we've removed every RNG element to this great game. Now, demo smoke, I don't know if it's totally related to RNG. You know, you think about like a smoke grenade in CSGO, right? They have those, right? I think they do. is that really RNG, or is that just a tactic that makes it so you can't see? But I really do think that if Psyonix is going for a game that feels completely like a sport with no RNG elements, these changes would probably be great. Now, they may not seem like huge changes, but this would make a big difference, as demos are still one of the most important elements of the highest level of Rocket League strategy. It seems like RLCS is just a bunch of people demoing each other. So this would be huge if they did it. All right, guys, those are my 10 potential changes that could be coming to Rocket League in 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's just sort of let the comment section be a place to put our best ideas for Rocket League, and I'll give hearts to the ones that I think are the best. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.